Hi, today we're putting a classic woodworking tool to the test, the Craftsman miter saw and clamping box. For only $20, this tool promises easy and accurate miter cuts. But is that too good to be true? Packaging impressions, pretty good. A ton of bubble wrap. Immediately you get the iconic Craftsman red and black. We have some cam pins. As you turn the pin, it will tighten down. We have looks like a push saw where the cutting action is while you're pushing it. It's got a ton of teeth on there. All right, looks like it's 13 tooth per inch. It's got a plastic handle with a little bit of grip here. It feels good in your hand. This top part of the saw adds rigidity, keep it from twisting. With the added benefit, the design of this box is that it rests on top of here. So you're not actually cutting into the box itself. Or on both sides, it has whatever degree you're looking at. So you have your 45 degree, your 22.5 degree, and your 90 degree. Over here on the very end, you can also do a 45 degree bevel cut. Here we have enough room for both of the cam pins, which doesn't actually fit all the way into the bottom. That's interesting. There should even be enough room for a pencil. We're gonna take a second to look at how we secure the miter box to the bench. So there's a few different ways. You have wing extensions on both sides where you can put a clamp. You can drill into your workbench using either one of these holes. On the bottom, you have these tabs, and now you can't push it that way, which is how the saw works, right? It cuts in the pushing motion. I recommend doing at least 2 of the 3. One thing to note is that if you're trying to use the full width of the miter box, it's about 4 5/8. You need to be careful of the placement of your clamps. In this case, I couldn't use a clamp that wouldn't interfere with material going across if I was using the full width. So in that case, I would have to screw it down to the bench. I need to figure out a place for the hole or to hold this down. Now these clamps, like I said, they're off-centered. So what they do is you stick it in the hole and then turn. And now that lobe is pushing on this piece. So I'll do the same thing on both sides. I'm also placing them as close to the saw as I can to ensure that this board doesn't move at all. Which I can't twist it. I can't push it. It's in there. I took my son to Lowe's to do the little woodworking kits. He picked up this board and he wants to make a project out of it. He gave me very strict instructions to cut it in half, and then he will figure out what he wants to do with it after that. So I will do as I am told. You can see some red in that sawdust. And as hard as I tried to make sure that I had the saw centered, it looks like I scraped back and front actually. So that's sort of disappointing. Now, as far as the cut went, it's about as smooth as you can expect from a handsaw. Small bit of tear out at the bottom because, again, we didn't have anything else underneath. There was no sacrificial board here. What about this tiny dowel? The holes go all the way up, so we just choose a different spot. Now, that's not going anywhere. Even the tiniest of dowels can be cut. We're gonna do a quick 90 here. Oh man, these cam pins do not go in easily at all. Good amount of slop here. Okay, I got that pin in. Maybe I can get in this hole. I can. My struggle is getting this thing to sit all the way down. All of this has a red tint to it. That's statically charged because I'm cutting into this plastic. Even though I'm being extremely conscious of keeping my arm straight, I'm still cutting into the miter box. All right, same thing happened. The very back side has a little bit of tear out over the length of that. The cut isn't that great. It's not actually square. Now, I will say that it's probably close enough for trim work. A little bit of caulk in there, you wouldn't notice it. So I'm holding this because these wiggle quite a bit. All right, so here's the trim. This side I cut, it's nice and clean. The side that's dirty was the factory. Well, probably somebody used a miter saw for that. So this is joining that cut. So if you had a long strip on a very long wall and you needed to connect two, that's what you would use this bevel cut for. So a little bit of painter's putty or even caulk in there, and you paint over that. That's a really nice consistent line. So I'm pretty impressed with that. What I want to do is I want to check the interior. All right, so this is the 45 that we cut for doing the interior corner. That's really tight. That's super tight. You can't get better than that. Even on a miter saw. That is exceptional. So this part's going to be kind of tricky because I don't have a flat surface to put on here. So I'm going to have to push. I'm trying to push down in this back corner where the thickest part of the trim is. I'm pushing back down and in while I'm setting my pin. If this is off, it's probably because this isn't flat anymore. This is where a miter saw will shine. Or if all they needed to do was have another extension like this on this side so that you can come in and cut your 45 bevel this way. That would fix this. I like it. I think it's super clean. Now this right here, I sanded this corner, so that's why the top of that is not flush. It's not a perfect 90, but I believe that's more because of the twist that I might have had in it than the cut. Also, fun fact, if you are a homeowner and you should figure out and you do trim, the corners of your house, the walls are probably not a perfect 90 anyway. Nothing in my house is actually square. The cam pins, once they're in and set, they do a great job of holding in place. And that's probably why they're very difficult to put in to begin with. You don't want to be putting a lot of vibration into this box and then having these wiggle loose and then you have a miscut. It's plastic, so it flexes, it vibrates, it's not spot on. If you need anything more precise than this, which I think you could do amazing work around your house, DIY, with just this. However, if you're a perfectionist, they do make miter boxes that are all metal and that have a metal guide, and instead of having a saw like this, it's more like a coping saw where you can cut larger things and even go on angles. So what is my overall thought on this? I think it's worth 20 bucks. Absolutely. If you like this and you're putting it in your Amazon cart right now and you're about to buy it, but you're unsure of your ability to use it correctly, I got a video for you over here. It's all the mistakes that you could possibly make when using this.